November 8, 2016. This date will forever be etched in the annals of American history. It was the night Donald J. Trump, a political novice and real estate mogul, shattered expectations to become the 45th President of the United States. The air crackled with anticipation as Americans huddled around television screens, eager to witness the outcome of one of the most contentious and unpredictable elections in modern history. Few pundits gave Trump a realistic chance. Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State and First Lady, was the clear favorite. Polls consistently showed her with a comfortable lead, both nationally and in key battleground states. Yet, as the night wore on, a palpable sense of unease settled over the Clinton camp. The expected blue wall of traditionally Democratic states in the Midwest began to show cracks. The first sign of trouble came early, with Trump overperforming in rural counties across the country. This was a harbinger of things to come. As the night progressed, the impossible seemed to be unfolding before the nation's eyes. The industrial heartland, once a bastion of Democratic support, was now turning red. Pennsylvania, a state that hadn't voted for a Republican presidential candidate since 1988, was suddenly in play. Trump's message of economic nationalism resonated deeply with blue-collar workers who felt left behind by globalization and the decline of American manufacturing. Wisconsin, another state long considered safe for Democrats, also fell to Trump. His promises to renegotiate trade deals and bring back manufacturing jobs struck a chord with voters in the state's struggling factory towns. The unthinkable was happening. The blue wall was crumbling. Florida, the perennial swing state, lived up to its reputation for delivering nail-biting finishes. The vote count was agonizingly close, with both candidates locked in a virtual tie for much of the night. Trump's strong performance among Cuban-American voters in Miami-Dade County proved crucial, ultimately tipping the state in his favor. With each passing hour, the tension mounted. The electoral map was beginning to resemble a sea of red, with only a handful of states still too close to call. The nation held its breath, waiting for the final tallies. Shortly after 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the moment arrived. With a collective gasp, the nation watched as major news organizations one by one projected Donald Trump as the winner of the presidential election. The unthinkable had happened. The outsider candidate, the one who had defied all odds and expectations, had pulled off the greatest political upset in modern American history. The projections were based on a combination of exit polls and actual vote counts, which showed Trump with an insurmountable lead in the Electoral College. While Clinton clung to a narrow lead in the popular vote, it was not enough to overcome Trump's dominance in key battleground states. Section 5. Disbelief and jubilation. The nation reacts. The reactions to Trump's victory were swift and visceral. In Trump Tower in New York City, where his supporters had gathered, a wave of euphoria erupted. USA! USA! The crowd chanted, their voices thick with emotion. Trump, beaming and ebullient, addressed his followers, promising to be a president for all Americans. Meanwhile, in Clinton's election night headquarters across town, a stunned silence fell over the crowd. Tears streamed down the faces of supporters who had gathered, some of whom had waited all night for the victory speech that would never come. Clinton herself was said to be devastated, her dreams of becoming the first female president dashed. Section 6. The markets tremble, then recover. The initial reaction from the financial markets was one of shock and uncertainty. Stock futures plummeted as investors grappled with the implications of a Trump presidency. The Mexican peso, seen as a barometer of investor confidence in Mexico's economic future, plunged to its lowest level in history. However, the markets quickly recovered, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average closing up over 250 points the day after the election. Some analysts attributed the rebound to Trump's pro-business rhetoric and his promises to cut taxes and regulations. Section 7. A nation divided, the aftermath. Trump's victory exposed deep divisions in American society. His campaign had tapped into a wellspring of anger and resentment, particularly among white working-class voters who felt left behind by economic and social change. His victory was seen by many as a repudiation of the political establishment and a rejection of the status quo. In the days and weeks that followed, the nation grappled with the implications of a Trump presidency. Protests erupted in cities across the country, with demonstrators expressing their opposition to Trump's policies and rhetoric. Meanwhile, Trump's supporters celebrated his victory, eager to see him enact his agenda of change. Section 8. Down-ballot ramifications. The 2016 election had significant ramifications for Congress as well. Republicans retained control of both the House of Representatives and the Senate, giving them unified control of government for the first time since 2006. This would prove crucial in enabling Trump to advance his legislative agenda, including the appointment of conservative judges to the Supreme Court. The Republican victories in the House and Senate were widely attributed to Trump's coattails, as he had energized conservative voters and drawn record turnout in rural areas. The Democratic Party was left reeling, facing an uncertain future and a need for introspection. Section 9. A turning point in American history. The significance of November 8, 2016 cannot be overstated. It marked a turning point in American politics, ushering in an era of populism, nationalism, and political polarization. Trump's victory shattered long-held assumptions about the electorate and the nature of American democracy. The full impact of Trump's presidency remains to be seen. However, one thing is certain: the events of that fateful night will continue to reverberate for years to come, shaping the political landscape and the national discourse for generations.